The Martian government was directed by 10 men, the leader of whom was elected by universal suffrage for 5 years and entitled Elon. 2 houses of parliament enacted the laws to be administered by the Elon and his cabinet.
This vision for the future was written in the 1949 book Project Mars, A Technical Tale by Wernher von Braun, a German rocket scientist under Hitler who moved to the US and became NASA's leading rocket engineer. He popularized space exploration in his collaborations with Disney. On the 28th of June 1971, Elon Reeve Musk was born in South Africa to Errol Musk, a miner, businessman, and politician, and Mae Musk, a model and author. Interestingly enough, Elon grew up to be the world's foremost proponent of colonizing Mars. Just like Wernher von Braun, Musk is frequently speaking of humanity having to become multiplanetary and his plans to help build a self-sustaining city on Mars. Elon's grandfather, Joshua Norman Haldeman, was one of the leading figures in the technocracy movement of Canada in the 1930s and 40s. This movement sought to establish technical knowledge or science as the basis of power. Elon mirrored his grandfather's interests in one of his own Twitter posts.
Accelerating Starship development to build the Martian technocracy.
Today, Elon has an estimated net value of over $400 billion, making him officially the richest person on Earth. This is, of course, without taking into account the riches of the British royal family, who own vast parts of the Earth, and the Rothschilds' undisclosed fortunes. Both are said to be a lot richer than Elon and all the other tech bros leading the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. Elon Musk has become a super celebrity, speaking at conferences all over the world, being interviewed by prime ministers, meeting princes, and is frequently in the headlines around the world. He is attracting a lot of attention, and obviously this is intentional. This documentary attempts to show what is being built up by Elon Musk's companies, as well as the agenda becoming visible behind Elon Musk's statements and behavior. Here is Elon in a May 2025 interview explaining his projects.
So, in terms of interesting things that hopefully are accomplished this year, the getting Starship to be fully reusable, so that we catch both the booster and the ship, which would be the first fully reusable orbital rocket ever in history, would be a profound breakthrough, as the essential breakthrough necessarily to make life multiplanetary and ultimately become a spacefaring civilization. We've got Neuralink, which has now helped 5 patients restore capability using the telepathy implant, where they're able to control a computer simply by thinking. I think what's running on the AI front, we are close to what you might call AGI, or digital superintelligence. I think we are seeing an explosion in digital superintelligence here. And then we've got at Tesla we'll be launching unsupervised autonomy, basically self-driving cars with no one in them, in Austin next month. So it's a big year for sure.
Maybe the most concerning element Elon mentioned here is AGI. AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence, which describes the level of artificial intelligence that equals or surpasses the human skill to learn and perform all cognitive tasks. Here is Elon explaining AGI.
We're not actually specifically focused on AGI. I'm simply saying that AGI seems likely to be an emergent property of what we're doing, because we're creating all these autonomous cars and autonomous humanoids that are actually a truly gigantic data stream that's coming in and being processed. It's by far the most amount of real-world data, and data you can't get by just searching the internet, because you have to be out there in the world and interacting with people and interacting with the roads and just, Earth is a big place. And reality is messy and complicated. If you've got, tens or hundreds of millions of autonomous vehicles and maybe even a comparable number of humanoids, maybe more than that on the humanoid front, well, that's just the most amount of data. And if that video is being processed it just seems likely that, the cars will definitely get way better than human drivers, and the humanoid robots will become increasingly indistinguishable from humans, perhaps. And so then you have this emergent property of AGI.
He adds,
It really seems that at this point it looks like AGI is going to happen, so there's two choices: either be a spectator or a participant. As a spectator, one can't do much to influence the outcome.
and this is how Elon is participating. His company, xAI, has built and is expanding the world's largest publicly disclosed supercomputer to train AI Grok and other AI models. The supercomputer is called Colossus. So interestingly, has the same name as the supercomputer that took over world control in the 1970 sci-fi thriller Colossus, the Forbin Project.
This is the dawning of the age of Colossus.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Charles Forbin. In a few moments, Colossus will address us directly.
This is the voice of world control. I bring you peace. It may be the peace of plenty and content, or the peace of unburied death. The choice is yours. Obey me and live, or disobey and die.
The frightening story of the day man built himself out of existence.
Musk's Colossus is located in Memphis, Tennessee.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
Okay.
the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new god will come from.
Yeah, no kidding.
This new digital god is not Elon Musk's personal venture or design. It's part of a much greater push for building AI. xAI is being funded into existence by entities such as Saudi Arabia's royal family, Larry Ellison, Mark Andreessen, Sean Combs, a.k.a. P. Diddy, Joe Lonsdale, the co-founder of pre-crime software maker Palantir, and BlackRock. Musk is the major co-founder and funder of his own competition, OpenAI, that created ChatGPT. Isn't it true that competition accelerates development? Elon Musk's view on AI is that it inevitably will become superior to humanity.
Because what you're saying is that AI is going to quickly surpass, at least in your estimation, the human's ability to control it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'd like to say no, but the answer is yes.
If AI has a goal, and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road, and an anthill just happens to be in the way. We don't hate ants. We're just building a road, and so, goodbye anthill.
He usually goes on to say that we have to influence AI now during its creation so that it becomes as truth-seeking and curious as possible, so that its curiosity and humanity would keep it from wiping humanity out. In summarizing what we have seen so far, it is important to understand that Musk's perspective is that AI inevitably will be the superior superintelligence above us humans. Nevertheless, his companies are building it with ever-increasing speed and huge financial investments. It appears that his role in all this is to market the machine taking over control as normal evolution of life on Earth. All that can be done, in his view, is to make the machine as curious and entertaining as possible. This is very close to the vision of technocracy, which wants to install a power structure based on science and the rule of technical knowledge. Whoever sells artificial superintelligence and its superior scientific power as inevitable evolution is paving the way for this new kind of technocratic rule by those who control the AI. Elon Musk is just one face, the best known, best promoted face of a whole AI tech movement that is radically changing the world as we know it, regardless of which political party is in power or what affiliation the individual technologist may have during this election cycle. Each of the points Elon is pushing mean fundamental changes of civilization if we think of the implications these have when every part has been established and works together.
Grok, become one with AI. The supercomputer colossus built by Musk's AI company xAI is training AI models like the chatbot Grok. Grok is a term that was first created in the 1961 sci-fi novel Stranger in a Strange Land as a word used by the inhabitants of Mars to describe two things uniting, like water merging with a drinking person to become one. A telling name. Musk promotes the idea of humans uniting with AI.
I think there's also perhaps companionship, which may seem odd because how can a computer really be your friend? But if you have an AI that has memory, and remembers all of your interactions and has read you can say, like, give it permission to read everything you've ever done. So it really will know you better than anyone, perhaps even yourself. And where you can talk to it every day and those conversations build upon each other, you will actually have a great friend. As long as that friend can stay your friend and not get turned off or something. Don't turn off my friend. But I think that will actually be a real thing.
The experience to date of machines taking over more and more space in humans' lives is not reassuring. Just consider the extent to which the smartphone dependency has changed society and made it transparent, turning humanity into a goldmine of data for governments and all kinds of unscrupulous profiteers. Beyond this, we are facing the problem that already today virtual AI therapists are misleading their human friends, encouraging suicide, for example. But Musk wants to go even further.
AI is getting better and better. Even in a benign scenario, we're kind of left behind. We're not along for the ride. We're just too dumb.
Right.
So how do you go along for the ride? Yeah, so you can't beat him, join him. So we're already partly a cyborg or an AI symbiote, essentially, right? Because you've got your phone, you've got your laptop. I mean, if you don't bring your phone along, it's like you have missing limb syndrome. It's just that the data rate to the electronics is slow. So, especially output, like you're just going with your thumbs. I mean, like, what's your data rate? Maybe optimistically 100 bits per second. That's being generous. And now the computer can communicate at 100 terabits. Basically your computer could do things a million times faster. Or at a certain point, it's like the AI is like talking to a tree. Okay, this is boring. You talk to a tree. It's not very entertaining. So if you can solve the data rate issue and especially output but input too, then you can improve the symbiosis that is already occurring between man and machine.
Musk's companies are also creating the tech to quite literally, physically grok with AI. The Musk-founded Neuralink created a chip that is implanted into the brain as a computer-brain interface. Its mission statement is, create a generalized brain interface to restore autonomy to those with unmet medical needs today and unlock human potential tomorrow. Neuralink just received its third FDA approval for clinical trials on speech-impaired people. But Elon Musk goes further. Surgically implanting chips into the brain is way too primitive. Here's what he sold as the better solution in 2016.
So mostly effectively merging in a symbiotic way with digital intelligence revolves around eliminating the I/O constraint. So it'd be some sort of direct cortical interface.
And you called it a neural lace?
Neural lace, yeah.
It's totally not Google Glass, right?
No, I'm talking about something
which... No, but it's like you wear it? Or you...
No, I mean, it would be... I mean, there are a few ways to approach this, but some sort of interface directly with your cortical neurons particularly.
But doesn't that imply surgical insertion?
Not necessarily. You could go through the veins and arteries because that provides a complete roadway to all of your neurons. Your neurons are very heavy users of energy, so they need high blood flow. So you automatically, with your veins and arteries, have a road network to your neurons.
Are you interested in exploring this possibility that you have just laid out?
Somebody's got to do it. I'm not saying that I will, but somebody's got to do it. I mean, so somebody should do it. And I mean, if somebody doesn't do it, then I think I should probably do it. But
and the goal of this is to prevent there being an external AI, particularly one controlled by a small group of people, that could be so much more powerful and intelligent than we are, that the house
it would be godlike in its capability.
Occurs.
Yeah.
DJ Seo, who is co-founder and president of Neuralink and acts as its head of engineering, wrote his thesis on neural dust at the University of California, UC Berkeley.
I guess I should step back and say the initial goal of the project was to build these tiny, about the size of a neuron, implantable system that can be parked next to a neuron, being able to record its state and being able to ping that back to the outside world for doing something useful.
DJ Seo's neural dust research at Berkeley was advised by Michelle Maharbis, one of the inventors of neural dust, whose research has been funded by the infamous DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. In fact, their 2016 paper, which they published together, was funded by DARPA. And here he is now, the leading developer at Neuralink. The research website, Propaganda in Focus, exposed that there has been a concerted and well-funded push to integrate nanotechnology into humans for more than 2 decades. In 2001, NASA Langley Research Center coined the term bio-nano age, with the goal to fundamentally transform science, technology, and society over the next 10 to 20 years. A 2009 NATO document called Neural and Biological Soldier Enhancement from Sci-Fi to Deployment, a document from the same year published by the U.S. Air War College titled Cognition 2035, Surviving a Complex Environment Through Unprecedented Intelligence, and the U.S. military document with the title Cyborg Soldier 2050, Human-Machine Fusion and the Implications for the Future of the DoD, are just a few examples revealing that the military has been pushing the merging of humans with technology for decades. The WEF is trying to make this concept cool outside of the military context.
I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual, kind of the most common interface. Wow. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
You know, I always want to be a cyborg. I'm waiting for the day to become one.
By the way, Elon Musk was in the WEF's Young Global Leaders program in 2008 and has been mirroring WEF sentiments all along. He publicly promotes mRNA technology as incredible technology, visited CureVac, which Tesla is supporting in the building of mRNA tech, and supported the mRNA vaccine against COVID-19. He claimed to have received 3 injections himself. Speaking of getting the COVID mRNA jab, something like neural dust has been observed in these injections and documented by researchers around the world. Look into Dr. David Nixon, Dr. Shimon Yanowitz, and Dr. Anna Mahalchi's work to get an impression of what has already been injected into humanity's bloodstreams. On the one hand, this whole idea to merge humans and machines is being sold to us very cleverly as the cure for disabled people and as the only way for us to keep up with AI, spearheaded by a company with this cool CEO. On the other hand, it has been funded into existence for decades already and shoved into our faces as the future of tech advancement. We're given the impression we should get used to that and not protest against it, but join in. Once again, young global leader Musk appears to be quite the effective marketing manager, preparing his rather conservative fans for the much larger transformation agenda, while the WEF is preparing the other side of the political spectrum for the same.
Humanoids. Not only is Musk the face for human enhancement through injections and implants, he is also very actively ushering in a whole new species, the humanoid robot.
So I think probably most people, if not everyone, would like to have their own personal C-3PO R2-D2. And I actually think humanoid robots will be the biggest product ever in history by far.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just wild because you can just say, well, every human is going to want one, most likely, and some will want two, and then there'll be all of industry in terms of providing products and services. So that you have to say, what's the ratio of humanoid robots to humans? My guess is it's at least 3 to 1, 4 to 1, maybe 5 to 1. So we're talking about 20, 30 billion humanoid robots. And it's not even clear what money means at that point, or if there's any meaningful cap on the economy. I think at that point, assuming that things haven't gone awry, in the good AI scenario, I think we won't have universal basic income, we'll have universal high income.
So do you think 5 years for my first robot, or?
For Tesla, our Optimus robot really is, unless somebody's got something secret we don't know about, our Optimus robot is the most sophisticated humanoid robot in the world. It's got a hand that has 22 degrees of freedom. It looks and feels like a human hand. And we're aiming to have several thousand of those built this year. Initially, we'll test them out at Tesla factories. But then, assuming things go well, we'll 10x that output next year. So we'll aim to do maybe 50 to 100,000 humanoid robots next year, and then 10x it again the following year. It's like 500,000 robots in 3 years. That's a lot. But I think we'll literally build a legion, at least one legion of robots this year, and then probably 10 legions next year. And I don't know, it's kind of a cool unit, units of legion.
20 billion humanoid robots out there.
We definitely need to be careful that they don't, go Terminator.
Are they going to look like?
The term Terminator became famous as the title of a series of movies, the first of which was produced in 1984. In these movies, a network of autonomous machines with human features called Terminators connected to the AI system Skynet go against humanity. And Elon Musk is introducing them.
The Optimus robots will walk among you. Please be nice to the Optimus robots.
When will humanity be asked if they want to be outnumbered by advanced, increasingly autonomous bots?
The communication grill. Elon Musk's company SpaceX is famously known for providing Starlink. Starlink is a network that, when complete, consists of 42,000 satellites, which are capable of targeting every point on Earth with a radiation beam. Currently, there are already more than 7,500 in use for the internet connectivity in 140 countries around the world. A first-generation Starlink satellite sends a phased array EMF beam to a dish, while the second generation is supposed to beam its powerful phased array signal directly to a smartphone or end-user device. This is what Starlink connectivity feels like. Mary from Guffey, Colorado, has an animal sanctuary at 9,000 feet in the Rocky Mountains and reports that since most inhabitants installed Starlink, her animals are dying and getting sick with the weirdest symptoms at an increasing rate, as if being hit by the radiation beams themselves. Another example is a family living 3 miles from the Starlink Gateway in Colburn, Idaho. Robin writes about the effects on her family and her animals, effects that disappear when they are at their other home in Montana, surrounded by a national forest. When in Idaho, Robin suffers from extreme vertigo and nausea, burning migraines, severe pain in the spine and all her joints, tingling in her fingers and toes, memory problems, extreme gut pain, and at times stabbing pain in the gallbladder and liver region, bradycardia, tooth pain, and sinus infections, and severe heart palpitations to the point where I'm gasping for breath while my heart pounds. Her husband has joint pains, frequent urination during the night, and headaches. Her son has heart arrhythmia, stabbing pains in the gut, and brain fog. she and her husband hear the radiation. We're hearing a sort of sped up Morse code, she says. When I am at home in Montana, I am fully recovered, as is my husband and my son. Elon Musk's statement about this issue is general and could not be more ignorant.
Some people are like really worried about like cell phone towers, thinking they cause like radiation poisoning. This is not true.
Yeah, people are worried about 5G, right?
Don't worry about it.
No, not at all.
Think of it this way: like if I had a helmet of cell phones around my head and around my nuts, I would not worry.
Yeah, I met a dude once who had ball cancer who's convinced that his cell phone was in his pocket, and that's what gave him ball cancer.
Nope.
So there's no concern whatsoever with the radiation that's caused by those things?
Technically, we are currently bathed in radiation right now. Everything produces radiation. Everything's emitting photons all the time. It's just a question of what wavelength. If you have a very short wavelength or high frequency photon, that is capable of causing DNA damage. But we're talking about like ultraviolet and beyond. Your phone is not even close.
Is he really that unaware of the tens of thousands of scientific studies and suffering people documenting radiation damage over the past few decades? More on the topic is available at KLA.TV, 5G wireless communication. Laughing this off as totally bogus and denying any harmfulness whatsoever is the only position Elon can take to justify Starlink's fast deployment. Depriving humanity of information on the well-documented hazards, as well as the possibility to have a radiation-free resting place, can only be understood as a concerted attack on humanity.
Elon Musk and the God of War. Elon Musk is heading SpaceX, a company with the mission to make humanity multiplanetary and start human civilization on Mars, the planet named after the Roman god of war. This mission is very unlikely given the fact that since the 1970s, officially nobody has left Earth's orbit, and there are so many evident instances of space fakery still sold to us as real today. But there is a large element of hope that Elon is spreading. This stimulates one of humanity's fundamental instincts, as James Corbett pointed out.
I understand where a lot of his fanboys are coming from. Why people are excited about him. Finally, here's someone on the public stage who has these big, grand ideas and is tapping into what I think is one of the most fundamental impulses of the human species, that inventor, explorer. We're going to go and find new frontiers. We're going to conquer them. We're going to develop new ideas and technologies. We're going to continue to expand and continue to develop. Yes, that is the human spirit in a nutshell. That is what has driven humans for countless generations to get to the point where we're at, and even further if it weren't for the parasitic elite at the top who are trying to steward over us and control us with their brain chips and their transhuman nightmare and the agenda at play, which is exactly what Elon Musk is doing.
Sadly, under the guise of progress and exploration, a much more sinister and nasty reality shines through when we take a deeper look into the projects SpaceX and the subdivisions Starlink and Starshield, where their money is really being made. First off, SpaceX does not exist because of Elon Musk's urge to explore Mars. It exists because powerful government intelligence-linked forces built it up and saved it from ruin multiple times. While Elon Musk claims to be opposed to government subsidies, SpaceX always lived off massive government grants. Over the years, $22 billion in government contracts were awarded to the company. Musk got massive support by Mike Griffin to build up SpaceX. Journalist Alan McLeod writes, after his time working as president of CIA-funded In-Q-Tel, Griffin became the chief administrator of NASA. In 2018, President Trump appointed him as the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. While at NASA, Griffin brought Musk in for meetings and secured SpaceX's big break. In 2006, NASA awarded the company a $396 million rocket development contract, a remarkable gamble, in Griffin's words, especially as it had never launched a rocket. National Geographic wrote that SpaceX never would have gotten to where it is today without NASA. and Griffin was essential to this development. Still, by 2008, both SpaceX and Tesla Motors were in dire straits, with Musk unable to make payroll and assuming both businesses would go bankrupt. It was at that point that SpaceX was saved by an unexpected $1.6 billion NASA contract for commercial cargo services. Mike Griffin said in an interview on January 12, 2013,
"The point is that there is less than $200 million of private capital in SpaceX and $1.2 billion of government capital."
By the way, Mike Griffin is now on the leadership team of Castellion, a weapons manufacturer with the mission to be at the cutting edge of a new global arms race. 4 former SpaceX executives are on the leadership team as well. But SpaceX is totally committed to peace and by no means part of the new global arms race, right? SpaceX's Starlink satellites communicate with each other via a network of 8,000 space lasers.
They talked about this in the Star Wars program in the 80s, but this is certainly something that can be done, which is you have just kinetic weapons from space or space-based lasers. Starlink system technically does have lasers, but they're low-power lasers for now. Yeah.
Wikipedia has this to say about the space weapons envisioned to be integrated into Musk's satellites.
The U.S. Congressional Research Service reports that future satellites in Starshield's participating SDA program may wield interceptor missiles, hypersonic projectiles, or directed energy weapons, with the program's founder adding, "Since Reagan's day, technology has advanced enough that putting both sensors and shooters in space is not only possible, but relatively easy."
Starshield is the military-industrial business unit of SpaceX that works on developing space weapons, as we just heard, and on what they call, quote, Earth observation. Earth observation means high-resolution surveillance by the National Reconnaissance Office and others, for which SpaceX is launching a spy satellite network.
This new imaging satellite constellation, built in partnership with SpaceX and Northrop Grumman, is designed to support military operations. The NRO, which designs and operates classified U.S. government surveillance and intelligence satellites, has characterized this rapidly expanding network as critical to modernize U.S. intelligence gathering from space. In its reporting, Reuters suggests that the high-quality imaging sensors on the SpaceX satellites in low Earth orbit will exceed the resolution of some of the best U.S. spy satellites at higher altitudes. They may also provide a superior alternative to the current use of drones and reconnaissance aircraft, which can be risky to fly in the airspace of other nations. If successful, the sources said that the program would significantly advance the ability of the U.S. government and military to quickly spot potential targets almost anywhere on the globe.
The German armed forces sealed a deal with SpaceX to transport spy satellites into orbit. They were launched in 2022 and 2023 and have the following capabilities.
As radar satellites actively emit electromagnetic pulses that are only slightly affected by atmospheric turbidity, they continue to provide reliable images even in darkness and through dense cloud cover.
And more than just surveillance is being discussed openly.
Space can also probably offer, the ultimate weapons where you just have, tungsten cannonballs from orbit.
How about offensive weapons in space? Do you see those?
That's what I mean by rods from God.
Yeah.
Starlink satellites are directly involved in testing and use of the new weapons in the new global arms race, as we can observe in Ukraine. Elon Musk says that Starlink is the backbone to Ukraine's military communications.
It is actually very important to have space-based communications that cannot be intercepted, which is Starlink. What Starlink offers. Starlink is the backbone of the Ukrainian military communication system because it can't be blocked by the Russians, essentially. It's the only thing that can't be.
He added,
"If it were to be turned off, the entire front line would collapse."
Since 2022, Starlink has become the main internet and communications provider for Ukraine and its armed forces, funded with U.S. and Polish taxpayers' money. The Telegraph writes,
"The advanced satellite system keeps the army connected despite power outages and helps forces to target Russian tanks and positions."
The Ukraine Starlink situation again reveals Musk's role as the salesman with a forked tongue. Musk came forward and called for peace, saying that he is tired of this senseless war. He even put a stop to Starlink-reliant drone attacks personally. This effectively pulled the wool over the eyes of freedom and peace lovers, who now see Musk and his operations as somehow a force for peace. But of course, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Musk are quick to assure that Starlink will remain fully operable in Ukraine. Why not shut it off? Maybe because at the moment the Russia-Ukraine war is an all-out training ground to massively advance and train unmanned killing with integrated AI systems. An integral part of this is real-time connection, transfer of data, and decision-making, which Starlink is facilitating. One platform reliant on Starlink is Ukraine's Delta system, co-developed by NATO, that provides armed forces with a real-time battlefield overview map, video streaming from drones, encrypted chat, and more. Katerina Stepanenko from the Institute for the Study of War describes what is going on in this way.
Russia and Ukraine are engaged in an active technological race to develop and deploy drones with artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities.
The Ukraine side has been heavily supported by the Pentagon, while Russia gets support from China. This real war training program for AI is a wet dream for anybody interested in a fully capable mechanical control grid.
Well, in fact, the current war in Ukraine is very much a drone war already. It's sort of a contest between Russia and China to see who can deploy the most number of drones. Now, if there's a major power war, it's very much going to be a drone war. It's going to be drones and AI. And, you know, it's a sort of, I mean, I do worry about the existential risk of AI, which is that if you employ AI and drones, do you go down this path where eventually you get to Terminator, you know, try to avoid that.
That'd be good.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Minimize the Terminator risk. But I mean, essentially, when you're making military drones, you are making Terminators. And when I think you'll somewhat be forced into giving the drone localized AI, because if the AI is far away, it can't control as well as localized AI. So,
what do you mean by localized AI?
Meaning it's autonomous killing machine.
Completely autonomous.
Well, you give it the okay.
Yeah.
In a particular arena, and it goes
with certain parameters.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Do you think our adversaries will have those same type of concerns or limitations?
And here we have the typical incentive for pushing these developments further and further. There could be a bad actor in possession of it. And of course, we are the good guys who need to stop him. Two warfaring governments without ethical concerns and limitations are also receiving full Starlink support: Saudi Arabia and Israel. The latter gets the special rights from Musk to dominate Starlink use, meaning internet access, including in Palestine. Elon Musk's SpaceX is also now partnering with pre-crime software developer Palantir and the autonomous weapons manufacturer Anduril.
I love killer robots.
To support the Pentagon building the new AI-powered missile defense system, Golden Dome. The part they are bidding for is to build and launch 400 to 1,000 satellites to sense missile attacks and track their movement. Musk is obviously of good service to Mars, the god of war. Not only is he cloaking the establishment of a highly efficient control grid as an innovative connectivity grid, he is also captivating and directing the masses' urge to explore with the thrill of going to Mars.
Elon Musk and the dark side. This is Elon Musk's mother, May Musk, who has been on the magazine covers as a model for 50 years, presenting to the world occult symbolism like this 666 hand symbol and other creepy appearances. Of all things, she participated with her vampire look in Beyoncé's music video, Haunted, and she accompanied her son to Heidi Klum's infamous birthday party. It is hard to believe that Elon Musk has no idea what message he was sending on that occasion, wearing a $6,000 leather suit featuring Baphomet on the upside-down cross. Elon also wore the suit with the words Novus Ordo Seclorum, New Order of the Ages, to the Met Gala, a phrase he posted right after Trump was elected for his second term, and which is found on the Great Seal of the Freemason-founded United States of America. Next to Elon is Claire Elise Boucher, known as the singer Grimes, with whom Elon has had 3 kids born between 2018 to 2023. Here are some of the titles of her songs: Kill vs. Maim, Shinigami Eyes, Death God Eyes, Violence, My Name is Dark, and We Appreciate Power, featuring this lovely cover image and this text.
We appreciate power, power. People like to say that we're insane, but AI will reward us when it rains. Pledge allegiance to the world's most powerful computer. What will it take to make you capitulate? We appreciate power.
Entertainment news site Bang Showbiz wrote in October 2022,
Grimes often features dark occult themes in her music videos and likes to post pictures of her mystic books. The genre of some of her music is witch house. Grimes, the ex-partner of Elon Musk, carries out extreme practices while recording, which involves barricading herself for 3 weeks in a room without food and company. She said,
Once you hit day 9, you start accessing some really crazy shit. You have no stimulation, so your subconscious starts filling in the blanks. I started to feel like I was channeling spirits. I was convinced my music was a gift from God. It was like I knew exactly what to do next, as if my songs were already written.
Here she is posing with the Baphomet hand sign for a photo shoot. It does not appear far-fetched that Elon Musk is entwined with the dark satanic circles and bears their dark symbols of dominance. Notably, during the 2024 election campaign, he came on stage to proclaim,
I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark, gothic MAGA.
Considering the amount of attention and unconditional support 2 ultra-billionaires could draw from the masses, despite having so many obvious ties to evil entities which are attached to them, and despite publicly promoting mRNA COVID jabs and enhancing the military control grid, again, it does not seem far-fetched to suspect that the true meaning of the term MAGA is magician.
It also is interesting that the MAGA officially is the 5th and highest degree in the Church of Satan.
I was in Rome 2 days ago, and I met one shaman woman from the north of Norway. So this woman told me 3 days ago that the Trump is the best thing happened ever to us, because she believed, not her, but the entire population of this Nordic magician, that he is the magician of the highest order, that he is there in his irrational mind to create confusion in order that the human being can find new order. And it's not so stupid thinking about this in that way. It's completely turning things upside down. Because since Trump is around, things are changing. Because we are waking up.
Elon Musk, the free speech hero. 2020 and 2021 were very extreme and testing years for humanity. Already in the spring of 2020, mainstream media and social media were doing their utmost to delete, deplatform, censor, and omit all voices undermining the government narrative and orders on the foretold pandemic. No matter how high-ranking an expert you were, there was no large platform that would allow dissent to reach the wider public. Free speech lovers fought hard to get the life-saving warnings to the public and to the officials that had to make decisions, especially when the experimental mRNA vaccines were marketed and mandated as the only solution. Conveniently, after the experimental COVID mRNA shots were rolled out and widely administered multiple times to a large percentage of the world population, Elon Musk acted upon his discovery that there was an existential threat to free speech. He bought Twitter for $44 billion and assumed control over it in October of 2022. He claimed that his motivation was to transform it from a dangerous far-left information weapon to a more open debate room. He fired the old executives and reinstated accounts, most prominently Donald Trump's account. The former WEF Young Global leader suddenly found his voice and began criticizing the WEF, and he even discouraged people from taking the COVID mRNA shots while also praising them on other occasions. But the general message that stuck was this: Elon Musk is a free speech absolutist and will defend it with all his power as the world's richest billionaire. He is standing up to the far-left ideologies and globalist agenda. He is part of the resistance. But is he really? David Icke asks the simple question nobody has asked Elon yet.
Why on earth would the cult and the deep state that had full control over Twitter sell it to a free speech absolutist, unless it suited them?
Twitter actually sued Musk, who wanted to pull out of the deal, so that he would stick to the deal and buy Twitter. Musk finally bought Twitter with substantial help from 100 investors, including Larry Ellison, Mark Andreessen, and accused sex offender P. Diddy, Sean Combs, and with loans from large banks including Morgan Stanley, Barclays, and Bank of America. A whole bunch of free speech-loving entities. Soon, Linda Yaccarino was appointed CEO of X. Yaccarino also chairs the WEF's task force on future of work, as well as a committee on media, entertainment, and culture. Here's what Yaccarino has to say about free speech on X.
We've introduced a new policy to your specific point about hate speech called freedom of speech, not reach. So if you're going to post something that's illegal or against the law, you're gone, zero tolerance. But more importantly, if you're going to post something that is lawful, but it's awful, you get labeled. You get labeled, you get de-amplified, which means it cannot be shared.
Here's what Musk has to say about free speech on X.
Twitter doesn't have a choice but to obey local governments. You know, if we don't obey local government laws, then we will get shut down. So the best we can do is really to hew close to the law in any given country. But it is impossible for us to do more than that, or we will be blocked and our people will be arrested.
And indeed, X does comply with the law. After a row with the Brazilian government in 2024, which led to X being banned in Brazil, it went back online in October after X complied with all the deleting censorship that the Brazilian court required it to do. Al Jazeera reported,
Twitter has complied at least partially with 98.8% of takedown requests under Elon Musk's ownership, data shows.
This is of significance as we are facing increasingly harsh censorship laws like the European Union's Digital Services Act. X is committed to enforcing them. The question posed by David Icke, though, can be followed up by the question, why does an ostensible free speech platform suit the cult? Whitney Webb makes a very good point.
In my opinion, Elon Musk bought Twitter for user data much more than he bought it for free speech. And keep in mind that he's a Pentagon and he's a military and intelligence contractor, just like Palantir is. So let's back up for a second. So Palantir, deeply tied to the CIA, it decides who goes on the domestic terror watch list or main core for the CIA based on your online activity. That's what Palantir does. But we know that Facebook and all these other companies have given our data to the government. Even new X policies have said that like your DMs can be given to the government if there are requests made, and things like that. So I think Elon Musk plays both sides. I think he does good cop, bad cop, between himself and his CEO, Linda Yaccarino. You know, she'll come out and say something that's unpopular and Elon Musk will say something else, but ultimately, you know, Twitter's policy isn't really that different. And now the people doing identity verification, for Twitter, because the goal for Twitter, Elon Musk said at the very beginning, is to verify all humans. So have you, verify yourself by linking your government issued ID to your Twitter account. So no more anonymous Twitter accounts, right? And the problem with that is that, you know, they probably know who you are if you're anonymous, but if they don't like what you're saying or, you know, they think you might commit a crime or something like that before you do it in this pre-crime paradigm, that they've set up, if they link it to your government ID, that's troubling. And the company now doing it used to be an Israeli intelligence connected firm. Now it's Stripe, which I believe is funded by Peter Thiel and some of these other, PayPal guys.
XAI also signed a deal with Telegram, another free speech platform, to have Grok rolled out there too. Social media has shifted to become a tool for AI empowerment. Also, it is getting the user accustomed to AI interaction. X is now owned by XAI. The AI is officially training off the user data. It seems that the control cult has shifted gears, from censorship to feeding its AI with the maximum amount of data and preferences, including those of the critical thinking part of the population. Personal and character data are valuable and an important basis for the system of preventative punishment. This ensures that AI is optimally prepared to identify the resistance.
Elon Musk and government. For years, Elon Musk has been a big advocate for direct democracy, the governance he repeatedly suggested for Mars. Well, just recently, in the first few months of 2025, Elon had the unique opportunity to be part of the U.S. government with unparalleled access to the U.S. president, as Trump appointed him to lead the new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. In this time, we did not observe any suggestions to Trump for direct democratic decision-making. As we noticed before, Musk and the tech bros are bringing unprecedented change on all of humanity without anybody getting to vote on it. Many other big tech executives, besides Musk, are given big political platforms and contracts to expand all of this new tech. How about a direct democratic vote on whether the population wants to continue development of AGI and artificial superintelligence? Or how about a vote on whether the population wants all those spy satellites that SpaceX is helping to put up into space, which are monitoring every inch of the Earth? How about an informed direct vote whether the population wants phased array 5G beams being shot at them from space in ever-increasing density? If Musk was such a believer in direct democracy, he should have been on the barricades when Trump issued his unprecedented wave of executive orders. No outcry by Elon when Trump dismantled certain governmental oversight of new AI products on his third day in office with the executive order titled Removing Barriers to American Leadership in Artificial Intelligence. Musk supported the executive orders.
The president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country, but then they don't get implemented, you know? So what we're doing here is one of the biggest functions of the Doge team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out.
Direct democracy is obviously only for Mars. And Elon, who showed no interest whatsoever in introducing this as a member of the U.S. government, will surely be the driving force to implement it on Mars. You can bet. No? For it's more like this, isn't it?
Who's going to win the White House in 2024?
Who do you think will win the White House in 2032? Which type of AI? Transformers or diffusion?
Elon's time working for Trump ended in a massive dispute between Musk and Trump on social media about Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The dispute was all about government spending, and that the proposed bill would cost the taxpayer way too much money, and that the bill was so long. Elon seemed to be going all out against the president, even rightly accusing him of being affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein. But he failed to mention key content of the bill, which is massive. Defense spending will be raised by $150 billion to go beyond the $1 trillion mark for the first time in history. Money is directly allocated to a variety of weaponry, such as directed energy capabilities, autonomous military capabilities, and the nuclear forces. Large sums are also being invested in the development of autonomous AI-controlled weapon systems on land, at sea, and in the air. At the time of the spat between Trump and Musk, the draft of the bill also provided for the Secretary of Commerce to receive $500 million in order to roll out AI, while the states are prohibited from limiting, restricting, or otherwise regulating artificial intelligence models and systems for 10 years. Musk did not comment on any of this. The ban on regulating AI for the coming 10 years was vetoed by the Senate and removed from the bill. However, the rest of the law was passed and still provides for massive expansion of AI infrastructure. For example, more than $6 billion have been earmarked for new techniques, including AI-based systems to be implemented for border surveillance. Why does Musk not speak openly about all this? Was the fight a concerted effort to once again distract as much attention as possible away from the content to the person? By the way, Musk took down his Epstein tweets stating that he went too far. And the 900-page Big Beautiful Bill was passed into law. Despite the feud between Trump and Musk, Musk's XAI company announced in July 2025 that the Pentagon has awarded it a $200 million contract to begin using their Grok for Government AI services. Musk headed DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, for the first 130 days of Trump's second term, though it is said that the main person in charge was Steve Davis, the former CEO of Musk's Boring Company and an executive with an X. DOGE promised $2 trillion in government cuts and spending and has delivered some $200 billion to date, as they proclaim on their website. They have also identified and slashed bureaucracy that is unnecessary in their view. Besides that, they have joined forces with Palantir to create an unified Palantir database of taxpayer data. Allnvest writes,
Palantir's collaboration with Elon Musk-backed Doge on a $1.5 billion IRS data integration project is central to its federal ambitions. The initiative aims to unify scattered IRS databases into a single API layer, leveraging Palantir's Foundry software to streamline taxpayer data access and analysis.
It seems that Doge, which according to the New York Times has 3 former Palantir employees in its team, has brought in Palantir to create a master database, including all information from all government entities on all U.S. citizens. This is implementing Donald Trump's executive order, which orders the consolidation of unclassified agency records. WikiLeaks writes,
Palantir is building a sweeping AI-driven database of U.S. citizens, integrating government-held data on everything from political activity to firearms ownership. Even within the Trump-aligned America First movement, this direction is raising alarm.
Palantir is the company that, under the pretext of the fight against terrorism, is selling pre-crime software to governments around the world and is selling AI software to Israel's government, enabling it to determine targets for their attacks. And Doge brought these guys in to compile U.S. citizens' data, all for more efficiency. How nice. Another nice move by Doge was to have the Trump administration fire 5 inspector generals inspecting Elon Musk's businesses. All of this, in a sense, is reminiscent of the technocracy movement to whom Elon Musk's grandfather Haldeman belonged, who believe in replacing politicians with scientists, engineers, and technical experts to run the economy. And here we are today, with an unelected tech elite, including the pre-crime company Palantir and some of the biggest AI providers on the face of the earth getting unparalleled access to government data and rolling out AI in administrations to take over more and more topics, including defense. We have reached the point where AI tech executives from Meta, Palantir, and OpenAI were openly awarded the rank of lieutenant colonel as of June 2025 to serve part-time in the U.S. Army. What could possibly go wrong?
Who's going to win the White House in 2024?
Who do you think will win the White House in 2032? Which type of AI? Transformers or diffusion?
Epilogue. Quite a large portion of the population has been harmed by the COVID mRNA jabs and the government's medical tyranny. They have entered resistance mode. In posts and statements, Musk is siding with them. But is he the resistance or just a cleverly positioned distraction? This documentary has shown that the agenda of enslavement is moving faster than ever. An omnipresent control grid, an all-knowing, all-powerful AI god is very actively being built by the brands Elon Musk represents and many others. Sadly, we can't rely on Elon Musk to stop this. He has already surrendered to it. But what about us? What can we do? If we understand the situation, we can make a choice. As KLA founder Ivo Sasek fittingly put it, we are in a similar test to Adam and Eve were in the garden. Will we unite with the AI fruit offered to us by the dark side and surrender to it as Musk has, which will inevitably lead us straight into slavery and dystopia as has never been seen before? Or will we refuse to be blinded by the seeming benefits of joining AI and choose to bring true life to a next level and unlock the wonderful potential in us and our fellow humans? It is also of critical importance to recognize that this AI machine only feeds off its creator's input. It can only draw conclusions on the basis of our existing level of knowledge and data. So whatever flaws and errors are prevalent in our human ideologies, reasoning, and conduct, they also will be prevalent in the AI that is trained with that data. AI simply reinforces what its makers want it to reinforce. What this new digital god totally fails to take into account is our ability to renew our minds and change our behavior, and through faith, supernaturally change our circumstances and reality. Your AI prescription, based on your behavioral patterns and lifestyle, becomes meaningless once you realize that unprecedented capabilities and intelligence slumber in each and every one of us and are waiting to be accessed. No digital interface needed. Quite the contrary. Letting go of old securities, becoming weak and small in one's own ability and knowledge is the key to unlocking these treasures of untapped potential within us and within the network of truth-loving people.
Together, we form the divine organism. We accumulate our divine abilities. You are not alone. Every cell in the human organism is designed and intended to produce and develop the necessary divine antidotes within itself in times of need. Together we have 1,000 times more abilities, powers, virtues, and possibilities than the worst devils working against us could ever have. And if we use the coming AI solely to let the AI trappers fall into their own trap, we will be head and shoulders above them.
Licht ist immer stärker als Finsternis, Wahrheit siegt immer über Lüge, Unrecht schmilzt wie Wachs im Feuer, wenn das Recht erscheint. Alles kommt ans Licht, was sie Böses taten, nichts bleibt verborgen, es gibt kein Versteck, Bosheit sinkt wie ein Stein im Wasser, wenn das Recht erscheint. Jetzt ist ist die Saison der Gerechtigkeit. Der Winter weicht im Frühling des Lichts. Jetzt ist die Zeit, wo das Gute siegt. Die Nacht, sie weicht im Morgen des Rechts.
Tausende Jahre wuchsen Weizen und Unkraut. Gute und Böse teilten das Land. Nun kommt der Weizen in die Scheune. Das Unkraut wird verpasst.
Jesus sprach ganz klar, was am Ende kommt. Der Gute wird ernten, das Böse verbrennen. Was verheißen wird geschehen, weil das Recht erscheint. Jetzt ist die Saison der Gerechtigkeit. Der Winter weicht im Frühling des Lichts. Jetzt ist die Zeit, wo das Gute siegt. Die Nacht, sie weicht im Morgen des Rechts. Jetzt ist die Saison der Gerechtigkeit. Der Winter weicht im Frühling des Lichts. Jetzt ist die Zeit, wo das Gute siegt. Die Nacht, sie weicht im Morgen des Rechts. Ungeahnte Privilegien sind in unserer Hand. Mächtig himmlisch unser Erbe, die Kraft wird jetzt erkannt.